about that other than that.
But it's just intriguing as fuck.
Why were they so scared?
Yeah.
We like what happened and why was that technology taken off? And with everything else going on up there, clearly it was either something bizarre that the U.S. government was just working on, or it was connected to the larger picture of what's happening in Antarctica. So
here's what I like about this guy so far. We haven't finished them all, but this guy's story is nothing's like overly like, oh yeah, and there was like a race of reptilians that had like
that's why I like it.
Crazy colony down there.
Right, it's just like a mysterious, like something's off.
Yeah,
like
something's not right there, or something is mysterious enough where they're not telling people, and
no,
it's not a hugely fabricated Star Wars type story. It's like
that's why I knew you'd like it because it doesn't smell like bullshit, even though the guy's initials are BS.
Right,
I don't know if that's a fucking metaphor. God damn it!
How ironic.
Every time.
So again, they were taken to the same room, the crew, the same room they went to years ago when they got questioned about the giant black hole. And they went to this room, and two new guys showed up. One was very stern, one was more affable, which was a weird detail. And the stern guy was like, you didn't see this. This never happened. No scientists disappeared. You didn't pick them up. They weren't missing. Everything's fine. Didn't sign a non-disclosure, and they went on their way. So the conclusion of the story isn't the scientists, because I don't know and no one knows. What the conclusion is this guy Brian met Linda Moulton Howe at Contacting the Desert a few years ago, and they were talking at a restaurant and outside later that night under a tree, just chatting about all these things and the missing scientists.
Sharing a cigarette.
Yeah, sharing a cigarette. Stuff.
I don't know why I made that.
Linda, it was Brian and his nephew, and I guess other people there. There's a bunch of people there. And apparently 2 days later, Brian was home and got a call. It hasn't had any contact with anyone from the government in a long time. And this call went something like this. I know you've been talking about this. We know you were at a restaurant recently. We know you talked about it outside. The people I'm associated with do not want you talking about the missing scientists anymore. You should not talk about it, and it'd be better if you didn't. And just hung up. The number was from Maryland, roughly the region where the NSA is.
They say that those conferences, Contacting the Desert, I don't know, what are some of the other ones? Whatever.
Yeah.
But they say that there's intelligence officials just hanging around, just seeing what comes up, just kind of monitoring things.
Of course, Linda would have a tail then, because Linda's been in the space for a long time.
Right.
They know that any good information might end up in her world, her view, in her bubble.
Yeah. Right.
And they probably were like tracking her. But they were both shocked because there was no way anyone could have been tracking them. They were clearly by themselves. There was no cars around. Like, how do they know? And the person kept saying, like, we know everything. We know what happened then. We know what happened now. We know anything. So apparently the NSA obviously can get into anyone's phone or anything and just monitor what the fuck you're doing. Damn it. So that's how the story ends. Anyways, I just thought this was interesting anecdotal evidence that what Billy is saying and what we're talking about in Antarctica could be true. And this guy is, if you listen to it, and I'll post it on the webpage, on the Facebook page, so you can listen to it, the guy clearly was a pilot or part of a crew that was doing this. And the level of detail and the sobriety in which he tells the story is really interesting. And he goes into a worldview of like, yes, there's a lot of rumors apparently in Antarctica, and they all talk about there's an ET and human bases all around Antarctica, and they're working together. And there's multiple different races with multiple different agendas. It's not as simple as like one race working with the aliens. Here's the Greys and here's the humans and working together. There's multiple things going on. It's really complex. And that, yes, that Antarctica was clearly dry and not full of ice a long time ago.
Right. And as Billy said, it possibly was attached to the Azores, where this supposedly...
My people. I'm Portuguese. That's my people.
Where there's a lot of evidence that if there was an Atlantis, that's where it would have been. Right?
Yeah.
So the pole shifted, moved down to where it is now, Antarctica, but it still had all this technology. And so it has attracted, according to Billy, and according to some of your sources, a lot of alien and human activity. Because there's a presence from every country there. And I don't know if you remember in the interview, I looked up where they thought that pyramid was. Mm-hmm. And you pull out from it on Google, and it says Temple of One. And I'm like, what is Temple of One?
What is that?
In the middle of the snow. Like a tiny little cap that looks like a pyramid.
Yeah.
And you can't find it. There's no such thing as Temple of One.
God, it's just so weird, the pyramid thing. Like, there's pyramids in Mars. There's pyramids all around our planet. Like, the pyramid mystery could solve everything we're talking about. It could be the connecting factor to everything that's happening.
Totally. 100%. Well, we could totally go on this forever, but I just wanted to do a deep dive in Antarctica because we had some people reach out and said, hey, will you guys do a piece on Antarctica? So we did, with lots of whiskey. So this is for you.
Yeah, please keep doing that. If you want to jump on either our Facebook or our Instagram or wherever you want and just ask, what do you guys want to hear? What do you want us to dive into?
Yeah.
It's a brief dive, but, we'd love to talk about
We listen to you
stuff,
guys.
Yeah.
So thanks for being our fans and listening.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a good night and stay safe out there.
Goodbye.